You've been hitting shoulders twice a week for months now, doing all the exercises you see online. But when you look in the mirror, your delts still look flat, like someone deflated them overnight. Your arms are growing, your chest is filling out. But your shoulders? They're just kind of there, making you look narrow no matter how much you train them. And here's the thing. It's not because you're not working hard enough. You're putting in the work. You're doing the overhead presses, the lateral raises, maybe even throwing in some rear delt flies if you're being thorough. But nothing's changing. Meanwhile, you see other guys in the gym with these massive, three-dimensional shoulders that make their physiques look completely different, and you're wondering what you're missing. I'm going to show you the 3 things killing your shoulder growth that nobody talks about. And I know what these are because I wasted 2 years making these exact mistakes. My shoulders didn't grow at all until I stopped doing what everyone said was essential. I'm talking about conventional advice from respected channels, from guys who look great, advice that seems like it should work. But for most natural lifters, it's keeping your shoulders small. The first mistake? You're probably overtraining the wrong part of your shoulders. The second, you're not doing nearly enough of what actually matters. And the third mistake? It's so common that I guarantee you're doing it right now. In fact, the harder you train, the worse this mistake gets. So let's fix all 3. Starting with something you need to understand about shoulder anatomy that changes everything. Your shoulders have 3 heads: front, side, and rear. You already know this. What you don't know is that you've been accidentally building only one of them this whole time, and it's making your entire shoulder structure look worse. Every single pushing exercise you do hits your front delts. Bench press, incline press, dips, push-ups, even close grip bench for triceps. All of them hammer your front delts. Most people do somewhere between 12 and 15 sets of pressing per week for chest. That's already 12 to 15 sets of front delt work before you even get to shoulder day. Then you show up to train shoulders. And what do? You add 3 or 4 sets of front raises because you want to make sure you hit all 3 heads. Do the math. That's 16 to 19 sets for your front delts every single week, compared to maybe 6 sets for your side delts if you're lucky, and 3 sets for rear delts if you even remember they exist. And here's what nobody tells you about this imbalance. It doesn't just mean your front delts grow faster. It actively makes your shoulders look smaller. Overdeveloped front delts push your shoulders forward. They create this rounded, hunched appearance that makes you look narrow from the front and completely flat from the side. Meanwhile, your side delts, the lateral head, that's what creates width. That's the 3-dimensional boulder look everyone actually wants. Your rear delts pull your shoulders back and create thickness when someone looks at you from the side. But if those are underdeveloped and your front delts are overpowering everything, your shoulders don't look small because they're weak. They look small because they're imbalanced. I used to do front raises every single shoulder workout. I thought I was being smart, being thorough, hitting all 3 heads equally. Then someone took a side photo of me at the gym, and I looked like I had no shoulders at all from that angle. Just a straight line from my neck down to my arms. Meanwhile, my front delts were so overdeveloped that my shoulders were permanently rolled forward, and my posture looked terrible. I was putting in all this work and making myself look worse. So here's what you need to do, and I know this is going to feel wrong. Stop doing dedicated front delt work completely for the next 8 to 12 weeks. No front raises. No Arnold presses. No front-loaded movements at all. Your front delts are already getting destroyed by all your chest work. They don't need more stimulus. They need you to stop interfering with the recovery they're trying to do, while you finally give some attention to the parts of your shoulder that are actually lagging. You're thinking, but what about balance? What about hitting all 3 heads? Trust me on this one. For 90% of natural lifters, front delts are never the problem. Width is always the problem. You've seen guys with huge front delts who look amazing. Sure, They're probably on gear or they have freak genetics. For the rest of us, front delts take care of themselves through compound pressing. The side and rear delts, those need direct, intentional work, and that's where your energy should actually be going. So we've freed up all that wasted energy on front delts. Now let's talk about where that energy should actually go, and why most people screw this up, even when they're trying to hit side delts correctly. Here's the plot twist nobody wants to hear. You're not doing enough side delt work. Like, not even close. Research shows that side delts need roughly 12 to 20 sets per week to grow optimally. Most people do 6 to 9 sets total. 3 sets of lateral raises on shoulder day. Maybe some cable work if they're feeling motivated. And here's why that's not enough. Side delts are built different. They're predominantly slow twitch muscle fibers. They recover faster than your chest or your back. They can handle way more frequency than you think. Unlike your chest or your back, side delts don't get hit significantly by other exercises. Overhead press, that's mostly front delts with some side delt assistance at best. Your side delts only grow from direct isolation work. Think about it. When you do rows, your biceps grow as a side effect. When you bench, your triceps get worked. But what compound movement really hammers your side delts? Nothing. They're on their own. If you're not directly training them with enough volume, they're just not growing. Period. So instead of destroying your side delts once per week with 9 sets, and then limping around for 4 days, wondering why your shoulders hurt, here's what actually works. 3 to 4 sets of lateral raises, 4 times per week. That's 12 to 16 sets total, but spread across your existing workout days. Add them to the end of push day, pull day, leg day, whenever. This feels like nothing in the moment, and that's the point. You're not trying to annihilate them. You're trying to stimulate them consistently. After your main workout, do 3 sets of 12 to 20 reps of lateral raises. Don't go to absolute failure. Leave 1 or 2 reps in the tank. Focus on form, not weight. Rest 60 to 90 seconds between sets. Total time investment? 6 to 8 minutes added to your workout. That's it. I used to do 1 dedicated shoulder day, where I'd do 12 sets of various shoulder exercises and absolutely annihilate my delts. I'd be sore for 4 days straight. Then I'd do nothing for a whole week while I recovered. My shoulders stayed the exact same size for a year doing this. When I switched to hitting side delts 4 times per week with lower intensity, they grew more in 3 months than the entire previous year. It felt too easy. That's how I knew it was actually working. But won't my shoulders be too fatigued to recover? No. That's chest thinking. Side delts aren't like your pecs. They can handle way more frequency because you're not loading them with 200 plus pounds like you do on bench press. You're using 15 to 25 pound dumbbells for isolation work. The stimulus is completely different. And here's the biggest mistake I see with side delt training. People use momentum to swing 40-pound dumbbells because their ego can't handle using lighter weight. When you're swinging the weight, you're training your ego, not your side delts. All that momentum shifts the work to your traps and your front delts. Lighter weight, stricter form, more frequency. That's what actually builds width. If you can't feel your side delts burning by rep 15 with 20-pound dumbbells, your form is wrong. Slightly lean forward about 15 degrees. Lead with your elbows, not your hands. Imagine you're pouring water out of a jug at the top of the movement. Stop when your arms are parallel to the ground, because going higher just turns it into a trap exercise. Okay, so you've stopped wasting energy on front delts, and you're hitting side delts 4 times a week with proper form. Your shoulders should start looking wider now, right? They will. But there's still one more thing that's probably making your shoulders look smaller than they actually are. And this one's going to surprise you. Your rear delts are probably non-existent. And I don't mean small. I mean, you probably can't even flex them on command. Here's a test. Stand sideways in front of a mirror right now and try to flex your rear delts. Can you even feel them activate? Most people can't. And this is the difference between shoulders that look three-dimensional versus shoulders that look flat, no matter how much work you put in. Rear delts create the capped look from the side. They pull your shoulders back, which makes you look wider from the front, even though you're literally working the back of your shoulder. Think of your shoulder like a boulder. Front delts are one side of that boulder. Side delts are another side. But without rear delts, it's like someone cut the back half off. You've got a half sphere instead of a full three-dimensional ball sitting on your shoulder joint. It looks incomplete because it is incomplete. And here's why everyone ignores rear delts. You can't see them easily in the mirror. Out of sight, out of mind. They're awkward to train. The positioning feels weird. And most people think rows hit them enough. They don't. Rows are 70% lats, 20% traps, maybe 10% rear delts if you're lucky. Face pulls and reverse flies feel like you're not doing anything because the weights are so light compared to what you use for rows. But that uncomfortable truth is exactly why your rear delts aren't growing. Minimum requirement here, 6 to 10 sets per week of isolated rear delt work. Face pulls, 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps, twice per week. Reverse flies, 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, twice per week. You can do these on the same days you're hitting side delts. Stack them together. For face pulls, pull the rope to your forehead, not your chin. Externally rotate at the top so your thumbs are pointing behind you. Squeeze for 1 second at peak contraction. If your traps are cramping up, you're pulling too low. For reverse flies, bend over to at least 45 degrees. Closer to parallel is better for isolation. Keep a slight bend in your elbows throughout the movement. Think about pulling your elbows apart, not lifting the weights up. Use lighter weight than you think. 10 to 15 pound dumbbells is completely normal here, even for guys who can bench 225. Here's what this looks like in practice. Monday, push day, add 3 sets of lateral raises and 3 sets of face pulls at the end. Tuesday, pull day, add 3 sets of reverse flies. Thursday, leg day, add 3 sets of lateral raises. Friday, upper body day, add 3 sets of lateral raises and 3 sets of face pulls. That's 12 sets for side delts, 6 sets for rear delts, and 0 sets for front delts. This is how you build three-dimensional shoulders without overcomplicating it. But here's the reality check. Your shoulders won't explode in 2 weeks. You're fixing years of imbalanced training. Give this 8 to 12 weeks of consistent work before you judge whether it's working. Track your measurements. Measure around your shoulders at the widest point with your arms relaxed at your sides. Take photos from the front and the side in the same lighting, same location, every 2 weeks. The scale might not move much, but the visual difference will be obvious if you're actually following through. And before you say this seems like too much shoulder volume, it's not. You were already doing 16 plus sets for front delts through all your chest work. Now, you're doing 12 sets for side delts and 6 sets for rear delts. Your total shoulder volume is actually lower than before, but it's balanced. That's the difference. So that's the training side handled. But there's 2 more things that can either speed this process up or completely sabotage your progress, and they're both happening outside the gym. Here's something most people don't think about. Shoulders are a relatively small muscle group. They don't need a massive calorie surplus to grow. Unlike your legs or your back, you don't need to eat like a powerlifter to build delts. Focus on getting 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. A slight surplus or even maintenance calories works fine for shoulder development. You don't need to bulk to 220 pounds to have impressive shoulders. You need to train them properly with the right balance. But if you're cutting, here's where it gets tricky. If you're in an aggressive deficit, like 500 plus calories below maintenance. Muscle growth in smaller muscle groups stalls first. Shoulders are one of the first things to stop responding. So if you're cutting hard and wondering why your shoulders look flat, it's not the training, it's the deficit. Keep your deficit moderate, 300 to 400 calories max, and prioritize protein even higher. Push it to 1 gram per pound, or slightly above. That gives your shoulders a fighting chance to grow, even while you're losing fat. Side delts can handle 4 sessions per week, but only if you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours minimum. If you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours and wondering why you're not recovering between sessions, well, there's your answer. Your body builds muscle while you sleep, not while you train. And here's something nobody connects. Rounded shoulders from sitting at a desk all day fight against your rear delt development. You're creating chronic tightness in your chest and weakness in your upper back. You can train rear delts all you want, but if you're hunched over a computer 8 hours a day, you're actively working against your progress. Set a timer every 90 minutes and do 20 shoulder dislocations with a resistance band or even a broomstick. Takes 2 minutes, keeps your shoulders mobile, and reinforces that external rotation pattern your rear delts need. Equipment-wise, you don't need much. A pair of 10 to 15 pound dumbbells for side delt work, a pair of 15 to 25 pound dumbbells for when you progress, access to a cable machine or resistance bands for face pulls. That's it. You don't need some fancy shoulder machine or special attachment handles. And here's the thing about dumbbells for lateral raises. Unlike compound lifts, you won't outgrow 25-pound dumbbells quickly. I've seen guys benching 315 doing perfect lateral raises with 20-pound dumbbells because that's what proper form requires. Progressive overload for side delts happens through more reps, more sets, and better mind-muscle connection, not always heavier weight. Timeline expectations. Be realistic here. Weeks 1 through 4, you probably won't see much difference. You're building the foundation, teaching your body new movement patterns. Weeks 4 through 8, you'll start noticing your shirts fit different. Slight width increase that you can see in photos. Weeks 8 through 12, other people start commenting. They'll ask if your shoulders have gotten bigger. This is a 3-month minimum commitment. If you're not willing to give it that long, don't bother starting. Measure your shoulder circumference at the widest point with your arms relaxed. Take front and side photos in the same lighting every 2 weeks. The mirror lies because you see yourself every single day. Photos don't lie. Look, you now know exactly what's been holding your shoulders back. It's not your genetics. It's not that you're not training hard enough. You've been training hard at the wrong things, and now you know the difference. Let's make this crystal clear so you can walk away and actually apply it. Stop all front delt isolation work. Your chest exercises are already handling that. They don't need more. Hit your side delts with 12 to 16 sets per week, spread across 4 sessions. Lightweight, strict form, focus on feeling them work. Do 6 to 10 sets of direct rear delt work every week. Face pulls and reverse flies with weights that feel embarrassingly light but actually target the muscle. That's the system. 3 simple rules that work for natural lifters who don't have freak genetics. Here's the truth most fitness channels won't tell you. Even with perfect training, your shoulders might not look like an IFBB pro's, and that's completely fine. The goal isn't to look like someone on stage at 5% body fat with perfect genetics and pharmaceutical assistance. The goal is to look like the best version of you. To have shoulders that actually fill out a t-shirt. To look wider and more athletic. To fix that flat, narrow look that's been bothering you every time you see yourself in photos. That's 100% achievable in the next 3 months using this exact approach. Your shoulders aren't small because you're lazy or because you lost the genetic lottery. They're small because they're imbalanced. You've been feeding the strong and starving the weak. Now you know how to fix it. Stop doing what feels important and start doing what actually works. The width you want is already there, buried under years of the wrong training split. Give it 3 months of balanced work and watch what happens. Your shoulders don't need permission to grow. They just need you to stop getting in their way.